As a prostate doctor, I'm warning seniors. This one habit enlarges your prostate. Have you ever paused at night, listening to the silence, only to be interrupted by the familiar need to visit the bathroom again? Maybe it's just once or twice, but for many men over 60, it happens 3, 4, even 5 times. You lie back down, hoping for rest, but your sleep has already been stolen. The next morning, you're tired. Your focus fades. And deep down, a quiet worry starts to build. Is this just aging? Or is something wrong with my prostate? As a doctor and as a friend who has walked alongside many older men in their later chapters, I want to gently say this: not all changes are inevitable. Some are signals, gentle ones, but they speak loudly if we know how to listen. In today's video, I'd like to take you through 10 simple, everyday habits that might be quietly affecting your prostate health, habits that most men don't even realize are playing a role. And more importantly, I want to show you what you can do gently, naturally, and safely to ease the pressure, sleep better, and live stronger. So please, take a deep breath, settle in with a warm drink, and let's begin this conversation together. Part 1. Not drinking enough water, a quiet strain on your prostate. Let's begin with something so simple. We often overlook water. I know many men your age try to limit fluids, especially in the evening. You're trying to avoid the nightly trips to the bathroom. And that makes sense until we realize what this habit may quietly be doing to the body. You see, your prostate is nestled just below your bladder, and when the bladder becomes irritated through concentrated urine, dryness, or inflammation, it sends pressure directly downward, right onto the prostate. In my years of practice, I've seen a pattern: men who chronically drink too little water often suffer from increased urgency, incomplete emptying, and a higher risk of inflammation. Dehydration thickens the urine, making it harsher on the lining of your urinary tract. Over time, this can quietly aggravate the prostate, leading to discomfort, swelling, and yes, those frustrating nighttime wake-ups. But the fix is beautifully simple. Instead of gulping down large amounts at once, which does send you running, sip smaller amounts throughout the day. Aim for a pale yellow color in your urine. That's the sweet spot. Some of my patients set gentle reminders: a small glass with each meal, a cup mid-morning, another mid-afternoon. And yes, cut back after dinner to help with nighttime sleep. Think of water not just as hydration, but as protection. When your body is nourished, your organs function with ease. Your bladder stays calmer, your prostate less irritated, and sleep finally restful. It's a quiet shift, but over weeks, it can change your nights and your days. So, friend to friend, don't fear water. Use it wisely. Let it work with you, not against you. Part 2. Sitting too long. When stillness becomes a silent pressure. Now let's talk about something many of us enjoy but might be doing more harm than good when done too long sitting. I know what you're thinking. Doctor, I've earned my rest. And you're right. After decades of hard work, it's only fair to enjoy your favorite chair, a good book, or an old movie on the couch. But here's something few people realize, especially after 60, sitting for long hours without gentle movement can place silent pressure on your pelvic area, right where your prostate lives. When we sit too long, whether reading, watching TV, or using a computer, blood flow to the lower body slows down. This reduced circulation can lead to congestion and inflammation around the prostate. It's not immediate. It creeps in slowly. But over time, it adds up. I've met men who say, I haven't changed my habits, but I feel more urgency, more discomfort. And when we look closer, we find that long periods of inactivity were quietly at the root. But the solution isn't extreme. You don't need to run laps or buy a treadmill. Just a gentle reminder, stand up every 30 to 60 minutes. Walk to the kitchen, stretch your legs. Take a few steps around the living room. One of my patients set a timer every hour. He called it his prostate protector. Another kept a chair near the window and walked to it every morning just to look outside. It's about inviting movement back into your life, not as a workout, but as a rhythm. Even small motions can help keep the pelvic area relaxed, improve blood flow, and reduce pressure on the prostate. So if you find yourself sitting for hours each day, consider this a gentle nudge from me to you. Your body was made to move. And sometimes, the simplest movement is the most healing of all. Part 3. Too much caffeine. When your morning cup becomes a midlife culprit. Let me ask you something gently. How do you start your day for many older gentlemen I've spoken to? The answer is simple. A warm cup of coffee, maybe two. It's more than just a beverage. It's a ritual, a comfort, a companion. And I get it. Truly, I do. I have a cup myself most mornings. But like many things in life, the dose makes the difference. You see, caffeine is a diuretic. It makes you urinate more. It also stimulates the bladder and can increase muscle contractions around the urinary tract, meaning more urgency, more trips to the bathroom, and for men with an already sensitive or enlarged prostate, more discomfort. What's more, caffeine tightens the muscles at the neck of the bladder, making it harder to empty fully. That leftover urine can irritate the prostate further, setting off a cycle that's hard to break. I've had patients say, "But it's just coffee. I've been drinking it for decades." And that's true, but our bodies change. What we could once tolerate now demands a gentler touch. So here's what I tell my patients: you don't need to give up your morning joy, but consider cutting back on the second or third cup. Try switching to decaf or herbal tea in the afternoon. Some people feel a remarkable difference within just a week or two. Better flow, fewer interruptions, deeper sleep. It's not about quitting your favorite things. It's about listening to your body's whisper before it becomes a cry. Balance is the key, and moderation, especially after 60, is not a loss, it's wisdom. Part 4. Spicy and processed foods. The invisible heat behind prostate inflammation. Let me take you back for a moment. Do you remember those younger years when a spicy bowl of chili or a hearty fast food meal felt like a reward after a long day? Back then, our bodies bounced back quickly. But as we age, our inner systems become more sensitive, especially the delicate tissues of the prostate. Here's what I've seen again and again in my practice: men who regularly consume spicy and processed foods often experience more urinary discomfort, urgency, and swelling of the prostate over time. Why spicy foods like chili peppers, black pepper, or hot sauce stimulate the body's heat and inflammatory response? In someone with an already tender prostate, this can add fuel to the fire, so to speak. Processed foods, things like frozen dinners, canned meats, and salty snacks, are high in preservatives, unhealthy fats, and sodium. These disrupt the body's natural hormone balance and can cause your body to retain fluid, placing more pressure on the urinary system. More pressure means more irritation. More irritation leads to more inflammation. And over the years, that can mean a larger, more problematic prostate. Now, I'm not here to tell you to stop enjoying your meals, but I do suggest thinking of food as support, not just fuel. Incorporating anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, berries, turmeric, and salmon can help soothe the body from within. Many of my patients slowly transition one less spicy meal a week, swapping canned meat for grilled chicken, adding a side salad to lunch. These small shifts make a big difference, especially after 60. Think of your meals not as indulgence, but as medicine, quiet nourishment that protects the prostate and restores calm to your entire system. It's not about bland food, it's about intentional food. Part 5. Holding your urine. when delaying nature's call turns against you. Let me ask you something you may not have thought about. Have you ever ignored the urge to urinate because you were in the middle of something, or the restroom just felt too far away? It's common. I've done it myself. We tell ourselves, "I'll wait a little longer." But over time, this small act of delay can quietly create stress not just on the bladder, but on your prostate as well. You see, when you regularly hold in urine, your bladder begins to stretch beyond its comfort zone. That overstretching adds pressure downward right onto the prostate, which sits just below. It's a gentle pressure at first, but repeated often enough, it becomes a form of internal strain, tightening muscles, irritating tissues, and increasing inflammation in the pelvic area. Worse yet, as we age, the muscles that control urination naturally weaken. Holding it in can lead to incomplete emptying later on, which leaves behind stagnant urine, a breeding ground for bacteria and irritation. I've seen patients come in with recurring urinary tract infections, discomfort, or nighttime urgency, only to trace it all back to the habit of holding it in. The fix, again, is simple but powerful. Listen to your body's signals. When you feel the urge, especially during the day, go ahead and respond. Don't wait until the feeling becomes urgent or uncomfortable. If nighttime trips to the bathroom are keeping you awake, try emptying your bladder fully before bed. Reduce liquids after dinner, but don't train your body to hold too long. Your bladder and prostate are like neighbors. When one's under stress, the other feels it too. Being gentle with your needs, answering nature's call when it whispers, not just when it shouts, can make all the difference. Part 6. Smoking and secondhand smoke, a slow burn that damages the prostate from within. Some habits leave their mark slowly, quietly, even when we think we've already walked away from them. Smoking is one of those habits. Now, if you're someone who's never smoked or quit long ago, I want to say that's something to be proud of, truly. But even for those who've left tobacco behind, the effects of smoking can linger, especially when it comes to the prostate. Here's why: the chemicals in cigarette smoke reduce blood flow throughout the body, including to the prostate. That means less oxygen, fewer nutrients, and more inflammation in tissues that are already sensitive. Over time, this limited circulation contributes to tissue damage, irritation, and a higher risk of prostate enlargement or even cancer. And it's not just about active smoking. Breathing in secondhand smoke, especially regularly or over many years, can have similar effects. I've had patients who never smoked a single cigarette, but lived with someone who did and showed the same symptoms of chronic inflammation. Smoking also lowers your body's antioxidant levels. That's like removing the shield your body uses to fight off inflammation. Without that protection, damage accumulates faster. But here's the encouraging news: once you quit or reduce your exposure, your body begins to heal. Circulation improves within weeks. Inflammation starts to drop. And your prostate, like the rest of your organs, responds to that healing. Some of my older patients worry it's too late. Let me be clear, it's never too late to give your body a better chance. So, whether you're still smoking, thinking of quitting, or trying to avoid secondhand smoke, every step you take is a gift to your health. You deserve clean air. You deserve to breathe freely. And your prostate, quietly working in the background, will thank you for every single breath. Part 7. Skipping health screenings, when what you don't know can hurt you. Let's talk about something many men avoid, not out of laziness, but out of discomfort, fear, or simply the belief that if it's not broken, don't fix it. I've heard this many times: "Doc, I feel fine. Why would I need a checkup?" And I understand. Truly, for much of your life, you've handled things yourself. You toughed it out. You didn't want to be a burden. But after 60, things change, and what's silent today may become serious tomorrow. The prostate, in particular, is a quiet organ. It doesn't always announce trouble with pain. In fact, many men with enlarged prostates or early signs of inflammation feel completely fine until one day. They don't. That's why regular screenings like a digital rectal exam or a PSA blood test are so important. They're not about fear. They're about foresight. They give us a window into what's happening inside, long before symptoms ever show up. I've seen men catch problems early and avoid surgery. Others, who waited too long, ended up needing procedures they could have prevented. Think of it like this. You wouldn't wait for your car engine to smoke before getting the oil changed. Your body deserves that same kind of care. And yes, I know the idea of these exams can feel awkward or uncomfortable, but they are quick, simple, and often life-saving. Even just one visit a year can make the difference between prevention and crisis. If you've been putting off a screening, I say this with warmth, not pressure. Please schedule it. Not because something's wrong, but because you want to keep everything right. You've spent a lifetime taking care of others. Now it's time to give your own body the same care and respect it deserves. Part 8. Eating too much red meat, when a favorite food quietly fuels prostate inflammation. Let's talk about a classic American staple: red meat. Steaks, burgers, bacon, roasts. These have graced our tables for generations. And truth be told, they're often tied to good memories, backyard cookouts, family dinners, weekend breakfasts. But as we age, the way our body handles red meat changes. You see, red meat, especially processed meats like sausages, hot dogs, and deli slices, is high in saturated fats and inflammatory compounds. Over time, these can quietly disrupt hormone balance, slow digestion, and increase oxidative stress, all of which puts pressure on the prostate. Digestion also becomes slower with age. That means heavy meats sit longer in the gut, creating more internal heat, inflammation, and in some cases, contributing to weight gain, particularly around the belly. And as we've talked about, belly fat isn't just cosmetic, it increases inflammation and hormonal imbalance, both of which can worsen prostate issues. Now, this doesn't mean you have to cut out red meat completely. In my practice, I encourage patients to simply reduce it, a few times a week instead of every day. Swap a steak dinner for a grilled salmon, lentil soup, or a colorful veggie stir-fry. Think of this as balance, not punishment. One patient of mine used to eat red meat 5 days a week. After we talked, he gradually cut back to 2. Within a month, his nighttime trips to the bathroom were reduced. And he told me, "Doc, I feel lighter not just in my body, but in my energy." Food is information. What you put on your plate sends messages to your hormones, your digestion, and yes, your prostate. Choose meals that speak peace, not pressure. Part 9. Belly fat and hormone imbalance, the hidden link to prostate problems. Let's talk about something many men shrug off: that extra weight around the waist. I know it's not always easy to stay lean after 60. Metabolism slows down. We move less. Hormones shift. And before we know it, the belt needs another notch. But that belly fat is more than just a cosmetic concern. It's metabolically active. That means it doesn't just sit there, it actually produces inflammatory chemicals that circulate throughout your body. And yes, they reach the prostate. This low-grade, ongoing inflammation can irritate the prostate gland over time, contributing to its enlargement. But that's not all. Excess belly fat also disrupts hormone balance, especially testosterone and estrogen. And as we've discussed before, your prostate is extremely sensitive to these hormones. Even small shifts can have noticeable effects: more frequent urination, trouble emptying the bladder, and increased nighttime urgency. One of my patients once said, "I thought belly fat just made my pants tighter. I didn't know it could mess with my prostate." It can, but here's the good news. Even small changes can lead to big improvements. You don't need a six-pack, just a healthier waistline. Start with small steps, a short 15-minute walk every day, swapping soda or sweet tea for water, smaller portion sizes, especially at dinner, a bit more fiber, a bit less sugar. I've seen men lose just 5 pounds and report better sleep, fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom, and a stronger stream. Think of belly fat not as a failure, but as a signal. A whisper from your body asking for attention, not judgment. And when you respond with kindness and consistency, your prostate responds too. Part 10. Chronic stress, the most overlooked yet most dangerous trigger for prostate swelling. Now let's talk about something we can't see on a scan, but it affects almost everything: chronic stress. Many men carry stress in silence. You may not talk about it, but it's there. The financial worries, family tensions, health concerns, regrets that linger, and futures that feel uncertain. I've sat across from many older gentlemen who say, "I'm fine," with a quiet smile, but their blood pressure, sleep patterns, and prostate symptoms tell a different story. Here's what we now understand. Chronic stress floods the body with cortisol and other stress hormones. Over time, this hormonal storm causes inflammation, tightens pelvic muscles, disrupts digestion, and lowers immune defenses. And all of these effects ripple toward one place: the prostate. Stress also changes how you breathe, how you hold tension in your body, and even how well your bladder and prostate communicate. It's no wonder men under constant stress experience more frequent urination, interrupted sleep, and difficulty fully emptying the bladder. But I want to tell you something with deep sincerity. Managing stress isn't weakness, it's strength. And healing begins not with a pill, but with a pause. A quiet walk in the morning, 10 minutes of deep breathing, gentle stretches, a hobby that brings joy, a moment of prayer or silence, even a genuine conversation with someone who listens. These are not luxuries. They are medicine. One of my patients, a widower in his 70s, began painting again, something he hadn't done since his 20s. Within weeks, his sleep improved, his urgency reduced, and he said, "I feel like a lighter version of myself." Stress is real, but so is peace, and your prostate can feel the difference. A gentle path forward for your prostate and your peace. So now, dear friend, we've walked together through 10 everyday habits, simple things that may have quietly been placing pressure on your prostate, on your sleep, and on your sense of ease. Not out of carelessness, not out of ignorance, but simply because no one ever told you how these little things could add up. And now that you know, I hope you don't feel overwhelmed, because this isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about beginning gently, choosing one habit, just one, and taking a step today. Maybe it's sipping more water. Maybe it's standing up every 30 minutes. Maybe it's calling your doctor and booking that checkup you've delayed. Whatever it is, know this: your body still listens to you. It still heals. It still responds with gratitude when treated with care. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are right on time to begin protecting your prostate and your peace. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s reclaim better sleep, more energy, and fewer worries just by making thoughtful, loving choices. And you can, too. If this video offered you a moment of clarity or comfort, I invite you to share it with someone else who might need it. A brother, a friend, a neighbor. And tell me in the comments, which habit surprised you the most, and which one will you try this week? You've got this, and I'm honored to be walking this road beside you. Until next time, stay hydrated, stay hopeful, and be kind to your body. It's been working for you, quietly, all these years. Now's a good time to return the favor.